Hello and welcome to this edition of You and the Law. On You and the Law, I basically add law to the news. I pick from the breaking news items, look at the issues of law in them, and then discuss them for the better understanding of everybody. My name is Ekeminudim. I'm a legal practitioner, and I'm always glad to know that you're there keeping me company. I truly, truly appreciate your company. In this edition of You and the Law, I am discussing the legal issues surrounding the arrest and detention of Chinweta Agu by the officers and men of the Nigerian Army in Anambra State. The news broke very recently that Chinweta Agu, a well-known actor in Nigeria, someone who has acted, I am very sure, not less than 200 movies in Nollywood, Nigeria, and someone who has become like a household name, to Nigerian citizens, was arrested. And we have seen photographs of him being arrested. We've seen videos of him also. And the army is saying that he was arrested for the uniform that he wore or for some other reasons. But before I proceed, let's even watch briefly the video of Chinweta Agu being arrested by the by the army, and he's having some conversation with the army.
No. I can wear this. My vehicle is parked at the center of our people.
No worry, that one.
Hold on. So, this is Rising. This is Sun. This is Rising Sun, not Biafra, not Eastern Security Network. Do you understand? Stand up. So, with my education, I know areas to go, areas not to go. It could be better for you to be videoing all this. Your guy is talking. Your guy is talking. Your guy is talking. So let's listen to the facts. They know how to react to the facts. This is the implication of this. Rising Sun. Me, I believe that.
More than 30 minutes.
I was right.
Gather people.
Well, this is just civil dress.
Okay, so you've seen clearly from that video that indeed he was arrested by the army. Indeed, he's been subjected to sit on the floor. He has also been detained, but I understand he was eventually released by the army. But my mission here is to discuss some issues of law about fundamental rights of Nigerian citizens arising from that very interface between him and the soldiers. Now, if you look at the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, particularly Chapter 4, it has itemized what is known as fundamental rights. And these fundamental rights are available to all citizens of the country. And these fundamental rights are not expected to be infringed upon by anybody, be it a soldier, be it policeman, be it any uniformed person, or be it anybody who is not even a uniformed person. These fundamental rights are available, like the rights to life, the right to freedom of movement, the right to personal liberty, rights to freedom of expression, rights to freedom of assembly, and many other rights. Now, when you look at this video has given rise to some issues surrounding not less than 3 fundamental rights. Number 1, the fundamental rights to freedom of movement, which is available to all citizens of the country. Arresting him, stopping him from moving, is something that affects his fundamental rights to freedom of movement. Placing him on the floor and subjecting him to sit down on the floor the way he did is something that is, capable of giving an argument around the fundamental rights to the dignity of human person, which is in the Constitution. Keeping him in detention for a period of time is something that also goes round, that can create an argument around his fundamental rights to freedom of movement and personal liberty. Now, you can see clearly from my explanation that every Nigerian citizen is given the fundamental rights to move freely from one place to another and should not be stopped, should not be restricted by anybody whatsoever. Every Nigerian citizen also has the fundamental right to liberty of his human person and therefore should not be subjected to torture, inhuman, and degrading treatment. Every Nigerian citizen also has the fundamental right to dignity of his human person, personal liberty. Now, Chinweta Agu's matter can be discussed around these three basic fundamental rights provisions that I have mentioned in the Constitution. So, from the analysis I have made, you can see that Chinweta Agu can go to the court and then make a case against the Nigerian Army. And in making his case, he would basically be making his case around these three major fundamental rights of his. That is, the fundamental rights to freedom of movement, fundamental rights to dignity of his human person, and then fundamental rights to personal liberty. If he's able to convince the court that the Nigerian Army had no right in law to have arrested him, let alone detain him, in spite of what he wore, then he is going to have the court make a decision in his favor. And what follows when the court of law makes such decision is that the army would be expected to pay damages to Chinweta Agu. But if he goes to court and he is not able to satisfy the judge that the army had no right whatsoever to have arrested him or to have stopped his movements, then his fundamental right is definitely going to be, his fundamental rights matter is definitely going to be dismissed for lacking in merits. Now, there is another question. Are fundamental rights absolute? Does the law allow the infringement, the breach, the curtailment of fundamental rights for some reasons? The answer is yes. True, all Nigerian citizens have rights. But in every general rule, there are exceptions. In every fundamental rights that has been provided by the Constitution, the law also allows the limitation of those fundamental rights for some reasons. For instance, for reason of security, somebody's fundamental rights can be curtailed. For reason of safety of the majority of persons in society, an individual person's fundamental rights can be curtailed. Now, the Nigerian Army is now left to justify why they arrested him. If they present a good case to the courts that they arrested him for security reasons, they arrested him so as to stop some kind of eruption of violence, some kind of stampeding because of the security situation in the state at the time of his arrest, then certainly the Nigerian Army would have justified the arrest of Chinweta Agu. And if that justification is made to the courts, then certainly the court is not going to find the Nigerian Army guilty for the infringement of the fundamental right or for the curtailment of the fundamental rights of Chinweta Agu. So in summary, what have I said? That every Nigerian citizen is entitled to fundamental rights guaranteed in the Constitution, and no one is allowed to breach the fundamental rights without without going against the law or without having to be given awarded damages against the person that has infringed. However, for security reasons, for public safety, and for some other justifiable reasons, the law, the same Constitution, permits the curtailment of fundamental rights. The law, the same Constitution, permits the restriction of some fundamental rights of the Nigerian citizen. I do hope that you have learned one or two things to also guide you so that when you get out there in the public to exercise your lawful rights, you should also know that there are some limitations to the fundamental rights. Fundamental rights are not absolute. I do also hope that the following days will tell whether Chinweta Agu is going to court. If he goes to court, we'll be interested in knowing what exactly happened, what's the position of the law, what's the view of the law about his arrest and his detention. Do have a wonderful moment. Continue to watch You and the Law, and also remember to subscribe to the channel so that from time to time we can send you notification about every new video that is loaded to the channel. Thank you very much, and do remain blessed.